My name is Karina Alvarez, and this is the oral presentation on assignment number 1, titled What is Next in Consumer Behavior? After reading the shared documents and doing additional research on marketing trends and how consumers react to them, there are several overarching themes. The first is that companies want to gain a deeper understanding of consumers and want to deliver cross-channel experiences to their customers and prospects. Basically, what this means is that it's not enough to be on the Nordstrom.com website looking at a pair of shoes and clicking out of it and then just getting a pop-up that says in your email, getting an email that says, would you like to purchase the pair of shoes? Question mark. It's now going deeper and saying, going on Instagram and seeing how these shoes benefit you. If they're a pair of sneakers, some examples could be of people that have participated in marathons and are wearing the sneakers. So it's really just gaining more of an understanding on what the consumer wants, making it very individualized and personalized. And we've seen that trend start when the digital transformation started in marketing, but now it's diving deeper into that. And also, they want to better understand the consumer journey. So they tie hand in hand because by better understanding the consumer, they could then tap into the complete, we could say, life cycle of that consumer. So what brought them to visit a store or website? What is it going to take to recruit this consumer? And then eventually, what would it take to retain the consumer? So the way that I see it is it's the recruitment and retainment strategy. Now, looking back in 2016 and going through the IBM document that was shared, there's some key marketing trends, 10 in total, that could be grouped into 4 areas. So one of them would be cloud computing and services. Another one would be mobile solutions. The third would be the Internet of Things, and finally, cognitive computing. So some key points among those 4 trends that we've seen are that companies are on platforms that their consumers are in, and they want the company to talk the way that the buyer is talking, because an example that was shared is a recruitment person at a university shared that the 2 marketing groups are the high school students and their parents, which are 2 very different segments. So basically, as a university, they need to communicate in a way that both the parent and the high school student find relevant, and these may be 2 different ways. And that just goes back to better understanding the consumer. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's more of a, wow, they're reading my mind approach. It's how I'm feeling, and they're understanding that. Another point that I think is key, and I'm seeing it today in my workplace, is that marketing departments and their leadership are aligned to meet organizational objectives that go beyond campaign results. So what this means is that the CMO of the company, the CEO, the CIO, are all coming together, and everything that's being developed has an end goal, and that end goal is an organizational end goal. It's not that this marketing campaign will attract 50% new contributors, in my case, for a nonprofit, or consumers for other companies. It's how that ties to the bottom line. And if the bottom line is that we are going to retain 96% of our consumer base or of our donor base, and are going to recruit 50% more than what we have, then the marketing strategies and campaigns need to tie into that, as well as the sales approach, and as well as the finance and operations, and so on. Another key point is that companies are using cognitive technologies to add emotion into the data results. So what we've seen in the past couple of years is that, yes, consumers are willing to give their email and birth date and so on and so forth. And this really does give a lot of data to marketing companies and to all companies for that matter. Now, how that data is interpreted and how companies are able to add the emotion piece is what is setting companies apart and really giving them a leg up on in the competitive marketplace. Another point is that videos and social media are improving the consumer journey. This is almost something that I feel we all take for granted from at any level. It is basically anything that eh, we have everything at our fingertips in today's world. So ensuring that companies are putting out the right information and content for consumers to have at their fingertips is critical. So nowadays, most people have access to the internet and the cost is very low and people are connected. Everything has increased dramatically in terms of the amount of time that we're spending on social media platforms. Also, it's a lot easier to produce a video than it was 10 years ago. So there are applications and technologies in place that really has made anyone that is interested in being one a video editor. So some questions that companies should be asking is, okay, if I'm creating this video, what's the purpose of it? How is this going to improve the customer journey? And once they have that answer, they'll be able to understand then what metric will be used to measure success. And with that, again, going back to improving the customer journey and to the pair of shoes example, it's maybe a video on if they're running shoes on ways to care for your running shoes, or examples of influencers using the shoes and running in them. And maybe there's also some sort of awareness campaign where the company will take back old shoes and donate them to a third world country. So all of that really is just tying into the emotion and connecting to the consumer. And then finally, another key point is that there's personalized retargeting of ads and context across multiple channels. And what this means is going back to the shoe example, it's that you're not only clicking on a shoe and then going to the accessories page or the jewelry and the shoe ad is there. It's that you actually are now on another computer or on another one of your personal devices, excuse me, and you're on another social media platform and you're receiving these ads. And this could be done in both for profit and nonprofit. So there are many times that it's something that we're diving into right now in terms of having someone that's about to make a donation and then they get interrupted and they don't make it, and what the retargeted ad will look like for that contributor. Now, it's very different than what it is for someone buying a pair of shoes, but measuring also how far along the consumer journey the person is. So if it's a first time contributor or consumer, that the messaging for the retargeting of the ad is going to be different than if it's someone that has visited and made a purchase 10 times in the last 3 months. So understanding that and taking that into account and using the sophistication available to really drive the consumer to get them to behave in a way that the company or the nonprofit wants them to is a key point that has been happening for the last year or so and will continue to do so. So what marketing strategies should be created in the near future? These are some things that, again, are in the works. I'm seeing it every day in my workplace. But I feel that with time, they will continue to develop and just become better and better. So the increased use of virtual and augmented realities. I listed here the example of Pokemon Go. We actually are we see nonprofits doing this in the some nonprofits that are fighting for animal rights. They have been able to do a virtual reality where the person is the cow that's going to the slaughterhouse and they could feel what that feels like. And it's very impactful when you're doing this, just like it is if you're taking a walk in somebody's shoes that is a resident of Overtown. What does that look like, and what does that person need to do on a day-to-day basis to have the funds needed to live one day? Or again, we could do the example of a shoe, and Nike does a great job of this. You're able to customize the shoe and actually have it be, put it on and pretend that it's you, being a virtual person. Another trend will be increased customization and personalization. There's the famous Coca-Cola example where the cans have your name on them, and this will just continue to increase as time goes on. Consumers want this, and there are the data points will be able to guide this trend for companies. Again, increasing the use of data to tell the complete story. So right now, it's not enough just to have an age and what you've purchased. It's more of combining that and bringing in the emotion to see what will get you back to purchase again, and what can the company do to increase your purchases. The increased use and leverage of the Internet of Things. So an example is Amazon, and how you tell the Amazon Echo, please add to my shopping cart to buy eggs, and then you log on to Amazon.com, and now a suggested item for you to purchase with the new Whole Foods merger are cage-free organic eggs. Increased use of influencer marketing campaigns. This is something that in Miami is booming, and people have had complete career changes and are now what are called influencers. And there is just so much power, because back in the day, word of mouth was basically the one of the main strategies when it came to marketing, and this is just like word of mouth 5.0, because there are people that you trust, you look up to, and now are using and endorsing certain products. And it's still a little bit vague as to what the payments are. It's not an athlete endorsing Adidas. This is more of a person that could live in your same neighborhood and is endorsing a local restaurant. And then finally, the use of right time marketing versus real time marketing. So again, going back to constant pop-ups right now, we are so, as consumers, we're so desensitized to that now it's the right time versus all the time or real time. In conclusion, marketing, and as we know, marketing focuses on how consumers see a company. Visibility is important and will continue to be. It will always be. If the going back to some basics, perception can be reality, and people, what they perceive is what they feel is reality. So if the company is not visible and people are not aware of it, then it no longer exists, and to them, that perception is their reality. Another key point is that the marketing trends moving forward are embracing technology. They're being much more sophisticated in their strategies, companies are. And a key point here is that they need to be nimble, because if they're not, they will not be able to adapt at a rate that new strategies and new technologies are being developed. And it's much more important to be visible and be relevant than it is to be perfect. So this is something that I think is a little bit of a problem, because we're used to wanting perfection, but in today's rapidly growing technological world, where Instagram story is what consumers want to see, not a perfectly edited video, it's key. Also, connecting the dots, so having flexibility among applications and among platforms and within the consumer journey is key, so that it's not just via email that consumers are receiving information, and it's not just that they are going to the website, but it's connecting the dots on all the platforms and having it be an integrated approach. Thank you very much, and that's it.